What's good with y'all, man? It's CT Headsy, and today I'll be ranking the top 10 shooting guards to use in NBA 2K21 PlayNow Online this year. But before we get into the video, please consider dropping a like because it takes me a while to make these. And if you're new to the channel and enjoy PlayNow Online content, please consider smashing that subscribe button as we're on the road to 800 subs. It's completely free and it'll mean the world to me. And lastly, if you want to get to know me and see me play live on Twitch, make sure you get there. I'll leave the link down below. Now without further ado, y'all, let's get right into it. Alright y'all, so before we get to number 10, man, this list is like the complete opposite of my top 10 point guard list. This list was super hooked. Like I was struggling to find guys. I had to actually pluck a guy that was listed as a primary small forward, and he had secondary shooting guard, y'all. So you can't argue. I mean, you could argue with me, but you'll see, man. I don't know. This list was definitely not as tough as my top 10 point guard list. So let's get right into it now. All right, y'all, coming in at number 10 on my top 10 shooting guards list is Brad Beal of the Washington Wizards, y'all. All right, so hear me out, man. I know some of y'all probably have him a lot higher if you had to do your own list. And if you look at 2KRatings.com, he's number 2 in terms of shooting guards. But yeah, just for me personally, man, this dude is number 10, and here's why. When I'm running this team, and I was actually playing a closer game earlier with them in this gameplay, I could not use Bradley Beal when he got close towards the end. The only player that could really create for me was Russell Westbrook. So if this was like my league and I had the number 1 pick and I had to choose a top shooting guard, Bradley Beal is number 10 on this list. Now, in his shot too, like his shot's not even all that in my opinion. Like it's so inconsistent for me. Like it's not greenable. I mean, it's greenable, but it's not consistent. You know what I mean? And if you look at his badges and his stats, he has an 84 3-ball. And his shooting badges, he has 16, which is solid. He has good shooting badges. A lot of them are on gold. But I don't know why. It's just when it comes down to his release, it's not very good. On top of that, he has no defense. He has no defensive badges. And his perimeter defense is abysmal. It's only 66. And his lateral quickness is a 75. So I'd be hiding him. I'd be putting Bonga on the secondary and Russell on the primary when I'm using this team. And his dribble six is okay. Like he has decent dribble six, but it's just that release that kills him. Like he's supposed to be a knockdown shooter, and like he's not. Like, and his jump shot IRL is smooth as hell. And in 2K it looks smooth, but I don't know what it is. It's just, for me personally, I don't like it at all. And another thing I don't like about Bradley Beal is he's kind of slow in my opinion. Like there's other guys on this list that's slow, but their releases is cool, or like they have other things that's going well for them. Like Bradley Beal's not the best slasher. Like he can't even slash like Russell, obviously, and you can't depend on him running to the rim. So the only thing that you would depend on, and like you would assume you could depend on him for, is to knock down threes. And even that, it's just like I said, it's so inconsistent. So yeah, with that being said, I have Bradley Beal as number 10 on my top 10 shooting guard list. All right, y'all, coming in at number 9, we have Devin Booker. Yes, I know this might trigger y'all, man, because Devin Booker is number 4 on 2K ratings list for their top shooting guards, but on mine, he's number 9. And hear me out. His release, like the biggest things that it comes to the shooting guards for me is their releases. Can they shoot for me? Because their main job is to really just stand there and spread the floor and shoot the ball. And so yeah, with Devin Booker, man, his release is lightning quick. Like it's a good thing. Like that's a good thing. But it's tough. Like it's so tough. Like you gotta really let that thing go stupid fast. And it's just so hard to time. Honestly, like I don't know whose release I'd prefer between him or Beal's. But after playing with both of them, I think I can, if I was to carry a team, I would rather have Book. So that's why I have Booker higher than Bradley Beal. Now, if we dive into his stats and badges, he has an 85 3-ball, and his defense is better. He has a 70 perimeter defense and a 74 lateral quickness. And on top of that, Devin Booker is 6'5", whereas Bradley Beal is only 6'3". So he has 2 inches in terms of height over Brad Beal. And he has 1 extra shooting badge. He has 17, whereas Bradley Beal only has 16. And he has a lot of good ones on gold. He doesn't have any on Hall of Fame. And he has 1 defensive badge. I mean, it's nothing crazy. It's chase down artists. I don't know why. But yeah, Devin Booker has that. So yeah, I like Devin Booker because I can create more with him at least. Whereas Bradley Beal, I don't feel comfortable with creating off the dribble. Devin Booker, because of his fast release, I can run around screens when he's not so tired and pull. But like I said, it's just, for me, I get a lot of whites with him because his release is just so fast. It's so hard to time. But with that being said, I do like Devin Booker more than Bradley Beal. So that's why I have him as number 9 on my top 10 shooting guard list. Coming in at number 8, man, we have CJ McCollum. Man, it was hard for me to place him below the guy on number 7 on this list, but we'll get into that later. But CJ McCollum, man, I love his dribble six. He has Steph Curry dribble six. The only downfall to it is his release is slow, and he's slow himself. Like his speed is not very good. His speed with the ball is only an 82. Like it feels a lot slower, honestly. Like if you know what I'm talking about, especially when he's gassed and he's blinking red, he feels stupid slow. but nonetheless, his release is slow, but it's easy to green. And like he hits so many whites because he has good shooting badges. He has 16 and he has that flexible release, y'all. So if you're not good with greening, I mean, it's only on silver, but it's still solid because it'll pop up whenever I hit a white. Now with that being said though, he does have solid badges. He has range extender too. I don't know if the other two guys had that, but he only has on silver. But like I said, CJ McCollum has solid shooting badges. He's only 6'3", but because of the sheer fact that he can dribble like Steph Curry and has Curry slide, I love using him more than Devin Booker and Bradley Beal. So which is why I have him at number 8. However, I will say that he's only 6'3" and his defense isn't very good. I'd be hiding him on defense as well, just like Bradley Beal. But he has slightly better stats. It's a 68 perimeter defense and a 76 lateral quickness. But again, like I said, he feels super small in the court. He only weighs 190. I like to use him as a secondary ball handler behind Dame's, obviously. I just wish he was a little faster so that I could run around screens, and I wish his release wasn't so slow. He's really good in the catch and shoot situation because it's just knocked down. But when you're trying to run around screens with CJ, it's just his release gives that defender an extra second to recover, and that's the only thing, the only downfall besides to his slowness. So yeah, moving on, we're gonna move on to number 7 now on my top 10 shooting guard list. All right, man, so this one might throw all of y'all off. But I have Buddy Hield at number 7 on my top 10 shooting guard list. And it's crazy because when I look on 2KRatings.com, this dude is number 32 on their list. And I mean, I'm not arguing with 2K's ratings because IRL, this dude be selling low key. And if you know if you're a Kings fan. But in 2K, this dude be green like crazy. So let's dive into it. This dude, I can dribble with him and run around screens with him because he has a lightning quick release that's greenable. Like, there's a difference for me personally between Devin Booker and his release. Like, if Devin Booker had his release with Devin's badges and stats and 6'5" height, man, Devin would damn near be top 3 on this list. But because Buddy Hield doesn't have all those same badges and he's only 6'4", which is not bad, and his defense is abysmal, he's only placed at number 7. Now this dude is kind of like CJ McCollum. He can catch fire, but the difference is, like I said, is just that release is so fast, y'all, that you can get it off. And even if like it's late in the shot clock and he has a man right in his grill, sometimes you can just pass it to him and shoot it, and there won't even be a contest on it because of how broken his shot is and the speed in terms of how fast it is. Now looking at his shooting and his badges, he has an 83 overall 3-ball and he has 16 shooting badges. A lot of this is the same reoccurring story between the last few shooting guards, where they all have about 15 to 17 shooting badges. So they're really similar in that department. It really just comes down to release and preference. His defense, same thing like the rest of these guys, it's abysmal. It's terrible. It's only a 69 overall perimeter defense and a 74 lateral quickness. But like I said, I mean, he's 6'4", he weighs 220, so his build's a little better compared to some of them, like especially CJ McCollum. But CJ does have those dribble sigs over him. If I'm gonna choose between whose release, I'm hands down choosing Buddy Hield's release over the last 3 guys on this list. The only thing with Buddy is obviously you gotta hide him on defense, which is fine for this King squad at least, because you have Tyrese Halliburton who can guard the secondary and De'Aaron Fox who can guard the primary. But man, the way 2K's played this year, it rewards shooters in my opinion, the way it's played. So with that being said, I have Buddy Hield at number 7 on my top 10 shooting guard list. Coming in at number 6 is actually Zach LaVine, y'all. So let's get into it. Zach LaVine is 6'5", weighs 200 pounds, and he has Steph Curry dribble sigs, which is crazy because he has a lot of good things going on for him. He has Steph Curry dribble sigs, he has that T-Mac Trey Burke release, and he has Showtime on gold, y'all. Now, some of y'all might be asking, why isn't this dude higher? Like, he has so much good things going on for him, then why is he so low? And he's 6'5", he's not very small for a shooting guard, at least compared to other guys. Now, so the thing with me for Zach is, although he has a release I like, I don't know, there's something slightly different about it when I'm shooting with him compared to a guy like Trey Burke or T-Mac. I don't know, I green way more with Trey Burke, and who is nowhere near as good as he is overall, at least. And when it comes to Zach LaVine, like, I can't really green with him. Like, even in just shoot around, like, his shot, I can't really green it. Like, I don't know what it is. I don't know if there's a slightly different base or a slightly different upper release to it, but I just can't green with it consistently. Now, obviously, I have him over the last 4 guys because he has Steph Curry dribble sigs and he has that gold Showtime, y'all. That gold Showtime really go crazy. And on top of that, his dunk animations is OD. Like, he be literally floating to the rim, and it's like so tough to block. I like to use him as my primary point guard when I use this bull squad, and then put Pat Williams at my secondary and have Kobe White be my small forward and my shooter, basically. I love using Zach LaVine. I just wish his defense was a little better. And on top of that, his 6'5" build doesn't really feel 6'5". He's really frail. He's super skinny, so it makes him, like, even Buddy Hield you can someone might say feels like bigger than him because Buddy Hield's a little bit wider, so he just looks like he's a better defender, whereas Zach LaVine just looks like a twig out there. But other than those things, Zach LaVine will go crazy on the offensive end, man, especially if you like to rim run and you could dribble. Like, those two things go well hand in hand. It's just his release. I don't think anyone could really say that they can consistently run around screens with him in green. I don't know, there's just something about that release, y'all. All right, and yes, coming in at number 5, I have Jaylen Brown over Zach LaVine and all the rest before this guy. Now, this is the guy, as I'm alluding back to the intro, this is the guy that I plucked from the small forward position. The reason being is, like, again, this shooting guard position isn't very strong compared to like the point guard position, where I had to squeeze guys in and had to do an honorable mention. Like this shooting guard list, I was barely trying to find guys, and I had to pluck this guy from the small forward spot. And he has shooting guard as a secondary, so that's the reason why I put him on this list. So now let's get into it. Jaylen Brown is 6'6". He's the tallest guy on this list so far. He has an 83 3 ball, and he has 12 shooting badges. So he doesn't have as much badges as the rest of the dudes before him, but because of the sheer fact that he's the tallest one and he can play defense and lock up the best out of everyone else before him, I can build a team around him. If I had the number 1 pick and I was playing my league, I would pick, and I had to choose between the guys before him and him left, I would choose Jaylen Brown in a heartbeat. Like I said, he's release. He can run to the rim and gets contact dunks just like LaVine. It's just not as nice. He doesn't have as nice dunk animations, and he doesn't have that showtime on gold, but he does have it on silver at least. And on top of that, he has good defensive badges. He has clamps, intimidator, a bunch of good ones, and he has 10 of them. If we dive into his defensive stats, he has an 87 overall perimeter defense and an 89 lateral quickness. That blows everyone before him out of the water. So defense is obviously key to winning games at times. So he's really the most two-way player on this list so far on my top 10 shooting guard list. All right, and at number 4, we have Donovan Mitchell of the Utah Jazz. Man, Donovan Mitchell is different compared to a lot of guys on this list. I feel like he's a primary point guard. He should be, at least the way you would use him in 2K. You do everything through him. He's a great playmaker. Like, he's great to have the ball and do a lot of things because he has good dribble sigs. Well, he has decent dribble sigs. He doesn't have Steph Curry dribble sigs, but he has decent ones, and he can do that move where you run defenders into the screen by doing it behind the back laterally. Now let's get into his stats and weaknesses and all that. So his main stats, I like to players' main stats. Obviously, I like to look at 3-pointers and their defense. He has an 83 3 ball, and he has 15 shooting badges, but a lot of them are only silver and below. So nothing on gold or nothing on Hall of Fame, obviously. So that hurts him. But on a catch and shoot situation, his release is solid. Like, it's not fast. It's kind of slow on the slower end, but it's greenable. Like, for me, at least personally, if I were to prefer a jumper between his or Booker's or even Bradley Beal's, I would choose Donovan Mitchell's. And if they had his release, I bet y'all those guys, Bradley Beal and Devin Booker, would be way higher. Donovan Mitchell's release saves him a lot, because otherwise he would just be a rim running point guard, which leads me into his strength. He is OD running to the rim, y'all. Like, he gets so many dunk animations, and he's only 6'1", which makes him look like he's literally flying to the rim. He has a 92 overall dunk rating, and he has 14 finishing badges, and one of them is Showtime on gold, y'all. And he also has contact finisher and relentless finisher on gold, which explains why he be getting so many dunk animations, contact dunks, which is just crazy and mad annoying to play against, but it's stupid fun to use when you're using him. Now, I will get into his weaknesses though. He's only 6'1", y'all. While he does look kind of wide because he weighs 215, he's still like 6'1". Man, that's terrible. Like, I really thought this dude was like 6'3". Like, I don't know why. I really thought he was 6'3". But he's only 6'1", and his defense is okay. He has a 79 overall perimeter defense and an 86 lateral quickness, and he has 5 defensive badges. He doesn't have clamps though, or tireless defender. He doesn't have good ones, so his defense is not very good. I'd be putting him on the secondary or even on the small forward. I don't put him on the primary. I'll either put Mike Conley or Joe Ingles on the primary ball handler, depending on who it is and the size and all that. But back to Donovan. I mean, he's decent. He'll hold it down on the defensive end, but like I said, he's kind of small, and you can't run around screens. If you like to run around screens and 3 hunt, he's not that guy for you. If you like to rim run, this is the guy for you. But for me personally, man, he's a lot higher because his release saves him, like I said, and yeah, he has decent defense. But with that being said, man, this guy is number 4 on my top 10 shooting guard list of 2K21 PlayNow Online this year. All right, and at number 3, man, y'all might have this dude at number 1, and because 2K ratings definitely has him. He has the best overall rating. He's a 95. But man, I don't know, man. In the past 2Ks, like back in the good old days when he was on the when he first got traded to the Rockets and when he was on the Thunder, he had a nice release. Like in 2K13 days, which is such a long time ago, I know. The last few 2Ks, I'm not feeling his release, man. It's like a weird hitch to it. It's slow. It's just like I don't even know when to release it. Like I'm really just guessing every time. Man, he does have good stats. Obviously, he has great badges. He has an 85 overall 3-ball, and he has 17 shooting badges. The one of them is on, he has 2 of them on Hall of Fame, which is volume shooter, but he has that steady shooter on Hall of Fame, y'all. And on current gen, that's like a plague. Like that, you don't want that shooting badge on any of your players. But other than that, man, he's 6'5", he's 220, he looks a lot wider and bigger, so he has a nice build, and he has nice dribble sigs. He has that nice behind the back that just launches him across the court. And he hits, like, at least in this gameplay, he was hitting a lot of whites for me. And he could go to the rim. Like, it's weird because in 2K, the last 2Ks I've realized, James Harden is like a dunker. Like, he's a slasher, which is weird to me because he be literally like yamming on dudes' heads. Like, when I'm playing against him, he literally be dunking all over my team. He has an 84 dunk overall, and he has a lot of finishing badges, which makes sense on Hall of Fame, but it's nothing crazy where it's like, yeah, he doesn't have like Showtime or anything like that, but he has contact finisher, which makes sense. But yeah, it's just weird how 2K gave him some like weird contact dunk animations here and there. Because when I think of James Harden IRL, I don't think of that type of person. I think of a guy that steps back, shoots tough threes, doesn't have slash and take. He would have like shot creating take, for example. And then let's get into his defense real quick. He has a 70 overall perimeter defense and a 75 lateral quickness, so it's not very good. It's really mid. And when I'm using this Nets team, I hide him anyways. I put him on the secondary. But yeah, that basically wraps up for James Harden, man. I have James Harden at number 3 on my top 10 shooting guard list. All right, y'all, coming in at number 2, y'all, we have Paul George. Man, let me tell you, man, I was a big Paul George fan back in the day, especially when he was still in Indiana and it was just him, like, basically carrying that squad to the finals or to the semifinals, whatever it was, the conference finals. Man, I loved Paul George, and to this day, I still love Paul George, especially on 2K. Like, he's a great 2K player, man. He's 6'8", weighs 220, and you could put him as your point guard on this team, especially with him, Kawhi, like, he's OD. He's really a perfect 3-and-D player. But you can actually use him as your primary ball handler. That's what I do. I use him as my primary ball handler. I do a lot of creating with him. I obviously wish he could be a 3-and-D player, and this team had a better playmaker. It could be Reggie Jackson. He has Steph Curry dribble sigs, but it's just Reggie Jackson can't go to the rim like that. So it's like you're really just running around screens, and he, like, if you play it well, you'll know that Reggie Jackson is looking to pass. So Paul George, though, you can run around screens with him. His release is water. I love his release, and he has an 86 3-ball, and on top of that, he has 16 shooting badges, just like the rest of the guys on this list. However, he does have that steady shooter on gold. So in the catch and shoot situation, he will miss. You will get some whites here and there. But he has 50 overall badges, y'all. Like, that's so tough. And if we get into his defensive ratings, it's higher than Jaylen Brown's. It's a 92 overall perimeter defense and a 92 lateral quickness. And on top of that, you have Kawhi, who's 97 on both of those. Like, man, this team is OD. But back to Paul George. If I was to build a team and I had the number 1 pick and I had to choose between the 10 guys on this list, I would definitely pick him pretty high. Now, obviously, I have him number 2. The reason being is the guy before him, if you don't already know who it is, man, we're going to get into it right now, actually, for a matter of fact. Yup, and at number 1, man, if you ain't already know, it's Klay Thompson, man. Klay Thompson just go crazy, y'all. He's literally the second best shooter. It goes Steph Curry, then there's a little gap between him and Klay, and then there's a wide gap between Klay Thompson and the rest of the shooters that come behind him. Him and Steph are just crazy. He has a 95 overall 3-ball, 17 shooting badges, and man, now I see why I be hitting some whites. I be getting some whites here and there on a catch and shoot. Man, he has that steady shooter on Hall of Fame, y'all, man. That's so hooked. But he does have Green Machine on Hall of Fame, and he has a lot of great badges on gold. Obviously, with Klay Thompson, you're not going to do much in terms of playmaking and ball handling because he's just not built like that. His dribble sigs and his speed's not very great, but he's the best 3-and-D player in this game. Better than Paul George, better than Jaylen Brown, hands down, because of his efficiency at the 3-point line, y'all. Like, he'll hit so many 3-pointers. Like, even if you can't green, he'll bail you out and hit some whites. And now if we get into his defense, he has a 93 overall lateral quickness, which is better than Paul George, and a 93 overall perimeter defense, which is better than Paul George as well by 1. And on top of that, he has 10 badges defensively. He has clamps on gold, hard crusher, which is huge, tireless defender, intimidator. Man, he has so many good, I mean, it's only 10, but he has 10 good ones, 10 good badges, y'all. And he's 6'6" and weighs 215 pounds. His build looks pretty wide and pretty good. Like he has a good build in 2K. He don't look hella skinny and frail like Zach LaVine. And Zach LaVine's only, I believe, an inch shorter than him. But Klay Thompson just looks bigger because he's just wider, and he's 6'6" obviously too, which just gives him another inch. So if you use Klay Thompson, man, run him around screens, not with the ball, but call plays for him to run around screens. Or you can use him as a screen and fader, especially with Curry. Like that's just so deadly, because if Curry comes off and he's open, you shoot that. And if Curry comes off and he's double teamed, then you give it to Klay, and Klay's open for a fading 3-pointer. But yeah, man, if I had the #1 pick and I had to pick a top shooting guard and I had to pick a shooting guard, it would hands down be Klay Thompson without any doubt, y'all. He is just, I love Klay Thompson, man. Him and Steph Curry are just, they're it this year. This team was not very good in 2K20. Like they were decent, but they weren't as good as like the Bucks last year, in my opinion. But this year, this Warrior squad is the best. And because 2K just rewards shooting this year, I love Klay Thompson, and that is why I have him at #1 on my top 10 shooting guard list. Alright, that is gonna wrap up this top 10 shooting guard video. Let me know in the comments down below, what's y'all top 10 shooting guards looking like this year in 2K21 PlayNow Online. But alright then, y'all, that is gonna wrap up this video. Hope y'all dig it. If you are new to the channel, please don't forget to smash that subscribe button, as we are on the road to 800 subs. It's completely free and it'll mean the world to me. And as always, I appreciate every single one of y'all, and much love.